And for several months, anticipation, of course, has grown here in this next hour. We're going to be working to get your questions answered. We're going to be joined by several guests, starting with Will Humble from the Arizona Public Health Association and Dr. Frank Lavecchio with Valleywise. Both men we've talked to quite a bit here for the past several months. We want to get right to some of our viewer questions. So many of you asking really great questions, too. First, we begin with this one. It's for you, Will. What will the vaccine do to stop me from getting COVID-19? Will it lessen the severity of any possible illness?
So really what the vaccine does is trigger an immune response within your body to protect you from getting COVID-19. But importantly, this whole effort is really about building immunity within a population. So ultimately the goal is to get enough people with those antibodies and what are called T cells to protect you, which also protects other people. So so it does that. And for those people that would get us, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, all right, because we're going to come back to you here momentarily.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll get more questions to get to. This next question is for you, Dr. Lavecchio. With only a few months of trials, clearly there are people who are concerned about that. How long will the vaccine provide protection?
We hope that it provides protection for at least a year. All indications that it's going to be at least that, but how do we know, right? The disease is only coming up on a 1-year anniversary now. So I think that's a great question. I think it's probably going to be longer than a year because where antibody titers go up to, and we've seen that when people get really sick in the hospital, we check their antibody titers, and sometimes months later they have it. The big worry is, the 3-month time when you just get mild COVID-19, you only have antibodies for a short bit. It's probably most likely pointing to getting a shot every year, or maybe a booster every year or every other year.
So kind of like the flu shot.
Right. That's right. Most likely.
Just kind of makes you wonder, too, if it's something that could be, I mean, obviously the scientists will figure this out, but if they'll be folded into one, with innovation.
Yeah, at least one visit, right? Maybe not in the same two, but both arms.
Two perfectly good deltoids. Hurt, right? But will be worth it. Okay, I want to get back to Will here. We know that Pfizer is not the only vaccine, that there will be others that are approved eventually by the FDA. So what will be the biggest difference between the Pfizer vaccine and the others that could soon be distributed? Again, this one for Will Humble.
Yeah, so the next one is in line is from a manufacturer called Moderna. They're actually in front of the FDA's advisory committee this Thursday, so just in a couple of days. And then we expect the CDC's advisory committee to meet right after that. That is a little bit different from Pfizer in that it doesn't require the super cold holding temperature that the Pfizer vaccine does, but it is also a messenger RNA vaccine like the Pfizer vaccine. So those are the first two on deck, and then there'll be others coming up in January and February. AstraZeneca is another one. Johnson & Johnson has a vaccine, GSK and others. So those are the first two, though.
And this one with AstraZeneca, we know we're seeing some trials here in Arizona and it looks like we've some promising results.
Well, so far, all of them have shown promising results for what we know in terms of what's been disclosed about the clinical trials. And so I'm super optimistic. These first two look like rock star vaccines. AstraZeneca looks fairly good, although we haven't seen the clinical trial data yet, and that's the proof of the pudding.
I've known you a lot of years. To hear you say optimistic and rock star in the same sentence, can I just say hallelujah, thank you, and we need to hear that right now. Thank you, you guys. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started here with this town hall here in our 6 o'clock hour. We're going to continue to answer your questions. Send them our way, ask at ABC15.com. Nick?